Charlene, thanks for joining me today here at the RFW office. I appreciate it very much. I know you're busy and all. I just wanted to talk with you a little bit more about some of the things we're seeing happening around the country right now with our community partners, our community providers, and state agencies such as your own. No doubt, I think all of us are certainly struggling with the budget crisis and the stimulus package and trying to kind of consider what we're going to be looking like as a team and as a partnership in the years ahead. We've had a great discussion, I think, today with the other members of the group here at RFW as well about maybe a new approach. Of course, I think we discussed some of the things that survivors of this crisis right now kind of illustrate. Certainly notice that they have good governance, that they have a lot of good volunteer base. It seems that they have a lot of different kind of income sources, not only from their traditional government sources, but projects they may have, businesses they may run, foundations they might have, as well as developing lots of new social networks and collaborative partnerships. And we see that as something that's not only helpful now, but probably going to be something we're all going to have to be doing in the future. We kind of discussed about kind of sort of sorting out the values of our services being provided and seeing that we're leveraging donor dollars as well as government funding dollars, and this has oftentimes been a good way to kind of prove to the boards and administration that we're having a return on investment as well as proper good planning. I think you mentioned that you've kind of had some experience in that area with another agency, correct?
Right. Back in my nonprofit days, in the early 90s, the board that I was working with at the time for the Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, we went through an exercise where we knew we wanted to take some new directions, and we were looking at the possibility of moving into social enterprise and establishing an assistive technology sales center, basically, for individuals with hearing loss who were coming in for audiological services, coming in for counseling services, sort of a aftermarket product delivery. We were very good at service delivery, but we hadn't really gotten into the sale of products. And I think I was sharing with you that we went through some strategic planning. We didn't have a lot of money to invest in this new direction. It was something that we were interested in, and we were able to get a grant to do a business plan from a foundation, from the Milwaukee Foundation. And but the strategic planner we worked with as we were considering our new directions led us through an exercise, and I've been through various strategic planning exercises in the past with other organizations, and this was actually the second time with this organization, where he asked us to analyze all of our services and to identify what we're going to stop doing, so that we could begin doing something new, put our energies, our resources, and our focus in a new direction. And that was one of the most valuable exercises I've ever gone through in terms of strategic thinking, and actually very difficult. But what were we going to stop doing? Maybe because we weren't the only ones doing it any longer. The organization was 50 years old. At one time we were it. Now we're not. There were others that could do this service, not that we couldn't still do it, or that it just didn't bring as much value as it once brought. And we could see that where the numbers of individuals requesting the service had declined. So we refocused not only our attention, but our human capital. As you talked about, the importance of the human capital, went through some difficult exercises to refocus human capital and our energies as a board and an agency into a new direction to get that social enterprise off the ground. And it wasn't just something that we were adding to our already full plate as a nonprofit.
In many ways, I think some of the good agencies we've seen around the country do exactly as you're saying. They're repositioning the organization, and then they do their planning to sort of head in that direction. And it's a matter of sort of culling through the things that we need to keep and other things we don't need to keep, or maybe finding another agency that can do them as better or better than we could. which, as you mentioned, oftentimes leads to the collaborative partnerships and networks for the social capital and other things like that. It's a fascinating exercise, it really is, to understand if we're leveraging the donor dollars correctly and the
Right.
foundation dollars correctly, if we're impacting the community properly, and then begin to explore those social capital benefits of people and networks working together and learning together and coming up with new and innovative ideas. So it's an excellent piece there. I think one of the interesting things about it in the reading I've done on social enterprise is that so little of it seems to be coming from our country. A lot of this that we're discussing has been researched and developed for years in places like Europe, India, certain places in Southeast Asia where they naturally have not had the benefit of tremendous resources like we've had in this country, but have had to rely on a lot of donor dollar hours, other innovative business enterprises, and other things that they've borrowed and put together in their collaborative efforts. I think it's probably a chapter that's come to our country. No doubt, I think we're beginning to hear that we're beginning to come out, but I think the reality is we have tremendous deficits and hills to climb here in the next few years. It's going to call for us to kind of think differently about how to position things and how to work in partnership.
I agree. And, you know, even in DDR, in government, we're challenged as well. And I always just feel like in bureaucracies, whether they're in nonprofits with entrenched thinking and long-time habits, so to speak, or in government bureaucracies, we don't just change to change sometimes. We need the crisis environment. We need the challenge in order to get outside the box and give ourselves permission really to do things differently. So these are tough times, but I do believe that for those of us that come out of this on the other end, that don't just survive, but that we can also thrive. You know, this is the environment for us to consider how we're not going to just survive, but how we're going to thrive.
Well, we're certainly a diverse country, and as I've had a chance to be in Minnesota and now Wisconsin for the last few days, I think the association here, in partnership with the state rehab agencies and other government entities, as well as the universities, have a great opportunity to partner. And I think that's the important thing, is how we can work together, create the social and human capital for the innovation we need. As I simply went down the road, I could see all kinds of potential business opportunities for the people we serve and organizations and such. No doubt, though, I think the challenge to all of this is to think differently, think in new ways, and think of new opportunities that will probably help us reinvent ourselves and make use of all the resources that we do have. We're certainly a resilient country, but I think the opportunities probably come for us to meet the challenge with creativity that we just haven't had before.
Right. And not to be afraid of that creativity.
Exactly.
You know, it might be fostered by by crisis, but at the same time, just to even as we're struggling, as I mentioned before, just to kind of keep the doors open sometimes. That for us, it's our wait list. You know, 4,500 people on it today, looking at 13,000. You know, in the next couple of years, waiting for services, which impacts all of our stakeholder partners too, if we can't figure this out.
Exactly.
You know, so, but we're confident we can, and we will come out. It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you know, getting into a social enterprise, that's not going to happen overnight either.
Exactly.
So just to get started and to get going down a road where we can actually bring more value to our customers, in our case, our common customers, and be there in the future to serve them in new and ways that are important to them and bring value to them.